Welcome to County Magazine, a chance to find out what's new across Fairfax County. I'm Brian Ashby. On this edition of the show, we'll investigate the complex problem of hoarding with the Department of Code Compliance. We'll explain how the county is bringing attention to the importance of Black men's health. And we'll look at a unique program that allows viewers to experience what it was like to travel in this country as a Black person. Recently, visitors to the McLean Community Center were invited to look back in history using virtual reality in a program called Traveling While Black. This immersive experience uses high-tech storytelling that allows participants to experience this difficult time in our nation's past.
The Green Book was a guide for African Americans to travel safely, to find shelter, food, and gas in a time when these basic rights were not guaranteed.
Every trip through America for a Black person during those times was potentially fatal. The assumption is at some time it stopped, and that's not the case. It never stopped.
Traveling While Black exhibit is kind of a parallel film to the Green Book. It kind of documents how the Black community had to take precautions when traveling through the U.S. People often think this is just something historic and it's in the past, but the film makes really strong connections to what's happening socially right now. This exhibit is really unique in that it brings virtual reality as the means to build this bridge. You know, if you're watching just a flat screen TV and you see something you don't like, you can turn away from it, right? But with a virtual 360 experience, you turn away. You're seeing this moment where Miss Samaria Rice is having a really profound conversation and it's too much and you turn away. What do you see? You see faces of the others in the room crying. If you turn away this side, you see the other faces. So for a moment, it lets you experience what it might be like to live in someone else's shoes.
We said you can't deal with the challenges on the ground unless you get to the root causes of what is happening in our community. You can't understand what it's like to be a person of color if you're not a person of color, but you can't start to deal with it unless you understand the root causes that get us to the inequities that exist today.
The goal of the film is to be a conversation starter, is to ask what can you or me as a person coming into the world, interacting with our Black community members, how can we be a part of the solution towards dismantling racism?
We thought we don't want to make a documentary, we don't want to make something that is going to be shown once or twice and go away. We want to make an impact and get out into the communities and start a dialogue.
It was always a question where to put it, you know, where do we film this? And I said, well, I live in Washington, and there's a place called Ben's Chili Bowl where the community gathers, Black, white. You know, these issues come up every day. We talk about them. In the worst of times during the riots, the community gathered there. There's only one place for this film, and it would be at Ben's Chili Bowl.
When we opened the Chili Bowl in 1958, my husband and I knew that we wanted to be a part of a community. And that was an amazing community. I came to Washington from Virginia in 1952 to a segregated city. Now Virginia, as you know, was very segregated. I'm thinking Washington was a little bit more progressive. No, we couldn't go downtown to dinner or to the restaurants or to the theater, but we didn't need to. We had everything we needed. And it became a gathering place, it became a meeting place, it became a place for the media when they wanted to get the Black perspective on the new football coach or whatever they wanted. It was at Ben's Chili Bowl that they came.
This was the last stop in DC before they went to the South for 10 hours. So Ben's Chili Bowl has been an anchor in our local neighborhood for many years. And so we wanted to have that set here. The artists wanted to have the set here and really evoke that feeling of what it is to be a community center. The Traveling While Black experience is very emotional and powerful to watch. And so at the end of that, we wanted to have people have a way to process what they saw. So we created some reflection prompts like I can, I didn't know, I will, my family, just to get them started on thinking about what they've watched, what they can do with the information they have, and walk out as change makers. This one starts with we can. We can all do our part to educate ourselves and be better to one another in small ways on a daily basis as we work to effect real change and dismantle systemic racism.
Next up on County Magazine, hoarding. The extreme and persistent collection of possessions or trash inside a home that creates a dangerous and unhealthy living situation. In the first part of our mini-series, we'll explore the signs, symptoms, and dangers of hoarding. Here's more.
In Fairfax County, there are approximately 4,000 people living in hoarded conditions. In these homes, where free space is limited, occupants are at a high risk for injury or death in the event of a fire. It is a serious, dangerous condition where occupants are often unaware of the danger in which they have placed themselves, their pets, and their loved ones.
I'm an investigator and fire marshal with Fairfax County, as well as a firefighter EMT. Hoarding conditions in homes create extremely dangerous conditions for both the occupants as well as the first responders at an emergency scene. The main problem is obstructed egress, meaning that the pathways into, throughout, and getting out of a structure are blocked and no longer provide escape routes. In emergency medical situations, patients that are non-ambulatory or rendered unconscious cannot be quickly moved on a cot and/or are hooked up to necessary medical equipment. In severe cases such as cardiac arrest calls and stroke responses, it's not uncommon to have 6 to 8 first responders around the patients performing different roles. Hoarded rooms do not provide adequate space to successfully treat the patient. In event of a fire, excess storage can make the fire scene extremely dangerous. Combustibles are a fire fuel load, meaning that these items can ignite and cause a fire to grow exponentially. When combustible storage is located next to heated appliances, such as furnaces and hot water heaters, they can easily ignite. Further, blocked doors may not easily be breached in order to gain access to the structure. This delays the emergency response time to the fire. Excess storage can block access to utilities such as the electrical panel, which is needed to shut off power to the structure to avoid electrical hazards during emergencies. In most hoarded homes, there are typically no working smoke alarms in the home. Hoarded homes are a serious danger to the homeowner as well as first responders.
Hoarding is more than just having too many things. It is an extreme accumulation of things that creates a dangerous living situation. As possessions stack up and free space around the house disappears, the functionality of the home becomes severely restricted. The floors become blocked, the stairways narrow, and it becomes difficult to move freely. Over time, and without intervention, portions of a home can become completely inaccessible. Without being able to clean, sanitation issues lead to the loss of health and well-being of occupants. Many people with hoarding issues eventually stop inviting friends and family over, which can trigger stress, depression, and isolation for individuals living in these circumstances.
I work for Department of Code Compliance. We're the agency that takes hoarding complaints from the community. Our investigations have 3 main focal points. Our first focal point is to eliminate life safety issues. This means to restore egress, we need to reduce or relocate personal possessions that are blocking windows, doorways, or walkways, or your way out in case of a fire. The second would be to restore utilities. We want to make sure that the heat, electricity, and water are on for sanitation purposes. The last would be to ensure the installation of working smoke detectors in the home. Our second focal point is with structural stability. Stacks of possessions are very heavy, especially when they're stacked from the floor to the ceiling. This can cause a problem when the extreme weight can exceed design capacity. This can cause sagging, bowing, shear crack formation, wall movement, and even broken footing. The problem is that this can lead to structural system failure and possible collapse. Owners may need to apply for a building permit in order to make these repairs. Our third focal point is improving quality of life. We want to make sure that we have working facilities for personal hygiene, mainly 1 working toilet, 1 working shower, and 1 working sink. Second would be to improve sanitation by reducing animal feces, improving poor air circulation, and eliminating excess garbage. Our end result then would be to improve the functionality of the living space.
From the exterior, hoarded structures may appear free of debris, but once inside, could pose a serious threat to the occupants. However, most homes with critical hoarding issues have many visible indicators of a problem. This includes parked cars filled with trash, yards, carports, decks, and lawns overflowing with excessive storage, curtains crushed against the glass from personal possessions pressing against the windows and doors. Due to excessive storage, occupants can only open the front door wide enough to speak when answering the door. Excessive numbers of possessions or trash piled to the ceiling throughout the home. Narrow paths or walkways throughout the home. Limited or no floor visibility. To make a complaint about a hoarded structure, please contact Code Compliance by phone or through the online complaint portal.
Animal Protection Police generally receives complaints from citizens in the community, neighbors. It could be from concerned family members or other county entities such as the Department of Code Compliance, the Health Department, or the Fire Department that comes into contact with hoarding cases that involve animals. Animal hoarding can affect the animals in various ways because they're generally not spayed or neutered. There's inbreeding involved, which can cause genetic issues. We generally see animals that have upper respiratory infections that are highly contagious. There's also issues with starvation because of the overcrowding. They're all competing for the same food. We have animals in large hoarding cases. They are found in poor condition. If we catch it in time, we can certainly help the citizen with reducing the numbers of animals that they have, providing the information that they need in regards to veterinary care and preventative care. We can also assist them with pointing them in the direction for adult protective services if needed to address mental health issues as well.
Hoarding is a multifaceted issue, often requiring government intervention. In 1998, Fairfax County started the very first hoarding task force in the nation to mobilize the agencies and departments to help citizens suffering from hoarded conditions. After the Department of Code Compliance was created in 2010, most of the enforcement action was housed in this agency. At that time, the task force was downgraded to a committee. Today, the Hoarding Committee meets quarterly to network more than 13 agencies and surrounding jurisdictions for education and outreach opportunities.
If you or someone you know is overwhelmed by hoarded conditions, you can access Fairfax County resources by visiting our hoarding website. By reaching out, you could save a life.
The average life expectancy of black men today is 7.1 years shorter than men of any other racial group. The leading causes of death can be managed by getting the help of a primary care physician. But studies show that black men are less likely to seek routine medical attention. The Fairfax County Health Department is working to turn that around.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Hey man, how you been?
Good. You mind if I sit down?
Please go and have a seat, brother. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
What's been going on, man?
Yeah, I'm trying to get back into the gym myself. Trying to go at least 2-3 times a week.
Cool. I was doing a little cardiovascular stuff, but now I'm really trying to just stay focused on biking, getting outside, exercising, taking care of my heart, those kinds of things.
Yeah, I find that walking works best for me. It's something I could easily commit to and something I could do almost every day.
Nice. Makes perfect sense. So you taking care of yourself good, man? It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay healthy. I haven't been to the doctor in a while. I need to make an appointment.
Well, I had a couple of things going on recently, a couple of medical issues that I've had to deal with recently. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm representing correctly and just taking care of myself,
Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah, not too many issues, but, a little bit of fear and mistrust regarding doctors and the healthcare system.
I hear you. And without doctor visits, illnesses can sometimes go undiagnosed. So it's kind of important that people look at trying to take care of themselves, get the kind of treatment and care that we need, And it's funny because black men are more likely to delay getting treatment and diagnosis. But I just do want you to remember that our average life expectancy for black men is about 7 years shorter than it is for the general population. So it is important for us to take care of ourselves,
I get that, but sometimes it's even hard to even find a primary care doctor to commit to.
Well, I have a suggestion. CSB Be Well program is maybe a good place to start. Get a case manager with them to help you follow up on a few things. Might be helpful.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Well, you know, I'm glad you're thinking about that because your health matters to you. It matters to your family, to your friends, and to your community. But you know what? Most of all, it really should matter to us as men.
Absolutely.
So everything else good, man, in terms of like the weekend, you got things planned, you know, going out, doing anything? Or?
You know, just trying to take some time off coming up soon. Maybe take a little trip.
Well, that does it for this edition of County Magazine. Thanks for joining me. Remember, there are countless ways to get involved in your community to make Fairfax County an even better place to live, work, play, and learn. I'm Brian Ashby.